Hello, here's some slides to talk you through the student support case study, which is part of the Module 2 assignment, and this addresses learning outcome number 4. So the Module 2 assessment in all comes in 3 parts, and we're looking at learning outcome 4, which is critically reflective understanding of student support. Its suggested word count is just 750 words, so it's much smaller than the main essay. And all of this is due at the start of October. So we're giving you a bit of a head start so that you can think about some case study student support issues now, or maybe have some time to notice them in the next term. So here's the learning outcome, which it addresses, and here's the assessment brief. So you're going to write an evaluative, anonymised case study of student support that you've been involved in. And here's all of the learning outcomes for Module 2, just for your reference. So we're just looking at number 4 today. So the intended learning outcome for this video is to describe the critically reflective understanding required to write the student support case study. So there's that critical word again, which keeps coming up. So we want you to reflect on a situation, critiquing it, drawing conclusions from it, and talking about it with reference to frameworks and models. So in this analysis, we're looking for the triangulation in your writing, such as you had in your action research project, which we've talked about before. So we're looking at you, your students, and them is the legal frameworks, the student services guidelines at BIM, pedagogical frameworks, and we'll look at those a bit later on. So this case study needs to show that you've critically thought about what happened and you're thinking about it from you and your students' point of view, and then thirdly, by looking at relevant frameworks. So some thought starters. You can write about your work as about an individual student, or it can be a small group, but it's normally an individual student. You might have worked with the students in class, it might have happened in a tutorial, or in some other way. It doesn't matter, that's okay. And the students may or may not have a specific statemented learning need, such as dyslexia, but it might be something else. So either way is fine. So it has to be an additional need. So it could be a statemented thing like dyslexia or dyspraxia, ADHD. They might be partially sighted, or they may struggle with writing. There might be bad peer relationships going on in the classroom. It might be someone who's crying a lot in your class. So we want you to jot down some ideas now. So to get you thinking, take a few minutes just to think of a few instances where you've helped an individual student or a small group with something that's causing an issue for them. Think about the issue from 2 viewpoints, you as the tutor and for the student. What may have been going on for them? So it may be that they have dyslexia, but that's not how this need is manifesting itself. Maybe it's causing them anxiety, or the way that they see themselves is the actual problem. Okay, and then the third part will be to look at the relevant frameworks, which we'll talk about later. So have a dig around in your head about this need. How did you know there was a problem? Maybe the symptom was that they were crying a lot, but you wouldn't know what the need was. How did you get to that? Or it could be the other way round. Like I said, it could be that the dyslexia is the identified problem, but actually it's causing other issues. So when you've had a thought about a case study you'd like to think about, it's time to plan out how you're going to write about it. So how did you become aware of the student's specific needs? How did you create a plan for supporting your student? What informed your plan? Did you talk to the student? Were they aware of it? Was it background reading? Did you discuss it with colleagues? Did you look at legal requirements? And how did you put your plan into action? What worked well? What didn't work? What evidence do you have for this? What difference did this make to the student? Did you talk to the student? And then your evaluation. How successful was your support? What have you learned from this? What might change for you in terms of student support from doing this? And remember to keep your students anonymous in your write-up. So to look at the third aspect, the frameworks. When we're looking at this case critically, we need to think about the relevant frameworks, and there are three main ones to think about. So BIM guidelines. BIM has policies on many of the student services issues such as bullying, mental health issues, and you should be able to find those resources on Moodle or People HR, or go and talk to a member of the student services team. Then there's a reference to pedagogy. Which theories or models were relevant here or informed your practice? So it may have been facilitation, or you may have come up with a constructivist solution to the need that arose. So think about the reading that you're going to do around this subject, and you'll need to reference these. You'll probably find that you've got less references than you will have for the main PGO2 essay. And then some of the legal frameworks, they may or may not be appropriate depending on what the issue is. So if we're looking at equality, disability, discrimination, there will definitely be a legal framework. For those of you in Ireland, the legal frameworks will be different. There's a useful list of resources from the QAA, and they've produced a report called the UK Quality Code for Higher Education, and we've listed some of Chapter B4 on the next few pages, which has got lots of links to other reports that you might find really useful. The link for that resource is at the bottom of the page, and on the slides there's some writing from that report, so you can refer back to them. So hopefully this has helped you to get a handle on what being critically reflective and showing a critical reflective understanding means. So leave a comment below with some of your ideas. Maybe if you're not quite sure which case study to choose, you might want to talk about it, and each of you can suggest maybe which ones might be good ones. And then book a tutorial if you want to discuss any of your ideas further. Hope this helps. Thanks.